You are not poor. At least, not in the way you think. You are not poor because you're lazy. You are not poor because you're not smart enough. And you are definitely not poor because you don't work hard. You are poor or financially stuck because you were programmed to be. And the scary part is, you probably never noticed it happening. Because financial programming doesn't feel like control. It feels like normal life.
Money magnet mindset. Master your mind, magnetize your wealth.
Let me explain something most people never question. Every society runs on systems. Education systems, work systems, economic systems. And every system needs stability to survive. Not chaos, not unpredictability, not millions of people suddenly deciding to think independently about money. So instead of forcing people, systems do something much smarter. They teach beliefs, not directly, not aggressively, but slowly, quietly, from childhood. Think about your first memories about money. Was it something like, money is hard to make? Rich people are greedy. Just get a safe job. Don't take risks. Be realistic. These sound like advice, but they are actually boundaries. And once those boundaries are inside your mind, you start policing yourself. You stop before you even try. This is financial programming. And it works perfectly because you think it's your personality. You think you're just careful. You think you're not business-minded. You think you're not lucky. But most of the time, you're just repeating beliefs that were never yours to begin with. Let's talk about school. School teaches you how to be evaluated, not how to create value. You are trained to wait for approval, wait for grades, wait for permission. But money in the real world doesn't care about permission. It cares about value. And most people never make that transition. They move from school into jobs and continue waiting for approval, waiting for promotions, waiting for raises, waiting for someone to decide their financial future. That's not failure. That's programming working exactly as designed. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. Most people don't actually want financial freedom. They want financial safety. And those are not the same thing. Freedom requires responsibility. Freedom requires uncertainty. Freedom requires self-trust. Safety requires obedience. And there is nothing wrong with wanting safety. But if you want wealth, you need to understand this trade-off. Because wealth usually exists outside comfort. Now let's talk about the biggest invisible rule. You were taught to trade time for money. From your first part-time job, to your first salary, to your career goals. No one ever stopped and said, what if time is the worst thing to trade? Because time is finite. You can increase skills. You can increase value. You can increase systems. But you cannot increase time. And yet most people build their entire financial life around selling it. That's not stupidity. That's training. Now here's something even deeper. The moment you try to think differently, fear shows up. Not logical fear. Emotional fear. What if I fail? What will people think? What if I lose stability? That fear is not random. It is a protection mechanism. Because your brain was trained to associate financial risk with survival risk. But in modern reality, most financial risks are learning risks, not survival risks. And once you understand that, everything changes. You stop chasing money, and you start building value. Value is what businesses are built on. Value is what investments grow from. Value is what content creators monetize. Value is what skills compound into. Money is just the scorecard, not the game. Most people spend their whole life chasing the score, without ever learning how the game works. Let me be clear. This is not about becoming anti-job. This is not about hating work. This is not about unrealistic entrepreneurship fantasies. This is about awareness. Because awareness is the beginning of choice. And most people never get to choose. They just follow the script. Wake up, work, pay bills, repeat. And one day, they look back and realize they survived, but never built anything that worked for them. If this feels uncomfortable, that's normal. Because you're not supposed to notice the programming. But once you do, you can't unsee it. And once you can unsee it, you can start building a different path. Not overnight, not magically, not perfectly, but intentionally. And intention changes everything. This channel exists for one reason: not to promise fast money, not to sell fake dreams, but to help you see the invisible rules so you can decide if you want to keep playing by them or rewrite them. If you made it this far, you already think differently than most people. And if you want to keep going deeper into how money, psychology, and real-world systems actually work, if you're serious about changing your financial future, make sure you're subscribed, because the videos coming next are for people who refuse to stay average. And remember, you are the magnet.